So something I haven't made a video on, and today I am, is the whole Fresh and Fit. What's happened? They were copyright striking everyone. They were suing everyone. It was in the hands of their lawyers. Not me. I'm a tiny channel that's never spoken about them before. But there were lots of people that had. Spencer Cornelia, Abraham Preach, Kevin Samuels. There's the lawyer chap. All part of that manosphere red pill community. And this is one of the things that I'm starting to see in content a lot, is all of the problems of this so-called red pill community, manosphere, MGTOW, whatever you want to call it. All of these problems are now starting to bubble up to the surface because a lot of people who jumped onto that bandwagon were talking shit. And they started getting called out. And they started getting called out by a lot of other people. Did you see the interview with Sydney Watson and Jack Murphy? He went nuts when she called him out for being an article he wrote about being a cuck. And look, I'm going to focus on the Fresh and Fit because, look, if you haven't watched their podcast, watch it. There's a lot of good advice. I'm 47. They're in their, late 20s, early 30s. They're more successful than I am. But I think most of the times they're talking shit about stories. But I do agree with some of, like everything, whatever the philosophy, whatever the community says, the basis of it is often stuck in a lot of truth. It's rooted, it's fixed there, it's the foundations for what they're talking about. And I would say that applies to them. Maybe calm down, but that's not their content. Their content is to publicly fucking humiliate women. It's like the Jerry Springer of the 90s, or the noise. What was it, Jerry Springer? 90s, noughties, probably both. Look, this is the YouTube equivalent, late night, Fresh and Fit. But they make this can be entertaining content sometimes. One of the things I think it does expose a lot is how deluded some of the women are that go on there. Perhaps some of the content is deliberately provocative to get reactions from these women. But these women are often very young. There is a lot of generalizing. I think from a lot of what I've seen of their content, and I have watched a lot of it, they kind of set, not traps, but they're very good at steering where the reaction is going to go. They know what they're doing. They're not, I don't think they're the fools that sometimes people think they are. I do think they made a mistake when they started trying to take on other influencers in the way that they attacked them. Especially as they were basically trying to get them removed from a channel and doing everything that kind of, in terms of integrity, self-respect, it just basically showed them to be a farce in that sense. It's just like, hang on a second, you preach this and you're doing this. But that's been discussed by 101 other videos. I don't need to add anything to that. But I notice they're still going and no one else seems to have been taken down. So I'm guessing it's just going to be simmering rivalries and feuds that will just continue for forever and a day until people get tired of what they do. And that content, like all content, will age. And at some point, that content will just disappear because people will grow out of it. And there will be a newer, fresher, fitter couple of guys who will come on the scene and do it slightly different, do it better. And not for any other reason than that they're only going to get away with what they do for so long before they're actually middle-aged like me. And, you haven't got girls trying to get clout through your channel. There comes a point where no matter how smooth, good looking, and hot you are, you're a guy trying to date girls that are old enough to be your kids, or young enough to be your kids. You're old enough to be their dad. And that's not as appealing to most men as it sounds. Most men don't mind a younger woman, but most men also don't like 40-year-olds, 45, 50-year-olds trying to be smooth and lechy around 18-year-old girls. It's most men don't like that. Don't like. There's few exceptions to that rule that I've ever come across. You know, you can get away with it when they're in their late 20s. They can demonstrate some intellect and experience. You can, you know, but generally, no. When you're definitely old enough to be a dad, potentially old enough to be a granddad, it's just wrong. It's just fucking wrong, in my opinion. And I think that's what's going to happen. That's where the Fresh and Fit franchise eventually goes. Is hopefully they are as smart as they say they are. They are investing as hard as they say they are. But yeah, eventually that content will just become old guys trying to dismiss young girls. And that side of the manosphere, that side of the red pill, I take more of a pinch of salt. But I do the bit I like, the bit that all of these guys go on about and drum on about is the focus on yourself, work on yourself. Do not chase. The simp part is a real bloody problem where guys are just fawning over themselves for a girl. And don't get me wrong, we've not all, but I've definitely been guilty of that, where I thought it was going somewhere and it wasn't. I put all my attention into it only to get burnt. But you have to recognize when you do that, it's on you. It's not on them. And that's the point I think a lot of people miss that is discussed in the red pill. But a lot of those guys get angry and it's like, she was a whore, she was this, she was that. No. I was simping, you were simping. The intention may have been good, but actually what you should have been doing is focusing on yourself, focusing on your own projects, focusing on doing your own thing, being the best version of yourself, as the saying goes. And too many times that doesn't happen. And when you realize it's not gone, oh, hang on, I've been played. You have to just cut those ties, get rid of it. Don't chase, don't beg, don't even ask, just walk. You got to do that. You got to just walk and bite the bullet and take it on the chin. So I think they're very, very good when they're talking about that. But the whole player lifestyle, maybe it's because I'm 47. Maybe it's because I'm 47. Maybe because when I was 18, I went straight into a long-term relationship. So I've never been in that player lifestyle. Maybe that's why I don't really think anything of it or aspire to be anything to do with that. But that's my take on Fresh and Fit. I notice it's all gone quiet. They've gone quiet. They're not trying to take anyone out anymore. And I notice a lot of people, even the people that have been on their show and back them, criticise them. And fair play. It'd be interesting to see if moving forward, they ever do a video release where they say, do you know what? We maybe got found out a little bit, maybe exposed a little bit. We certainly heard some stuff about us we didn't like. And maybe we handled it badly. Let's wait and see.